Well, that's until Washington becomes controversial too, which now.
Yeah, I know. I love that the Washington Post had an op-ed about the name Washington, that they should rename it because he owned slaves. In the
Yeah,
Washington Post.
yeah, in Washington D.C. So yeah, we're gonna have to change all the names, which is kind of interesting. We're talking about that too. Like now all
Did
the
you see
names.
they were even trying to like cancel Gandhi because I forget exactly
Cancel Gandhi. Like how you cancel Gandhi?
or not cancel him, but like retroactively say he's not a good person, because I forget what they said about him, that he was anti-Jewish or something, or anti-Semite or something. I'm not sure exactly.
Listen, you're gonna go back in history and say and correct everything that was bad that happened back in the days when now we know it was bad, but before it was normal. I mean, you can go back to the Roman Empire, and were you gonna tear down the Roman Colosseum just because slaves were fighting there as gladiators for the fun of the Roman emperor and his crew and all that stuff, and they were killing each other and fighting animals, and they were of all races and all that stuff? Or you're gonna go back to the Spanish Inquisition and kill them all and kill the statues that are for all these conquistadors all over the place just because they were like burning people alive, or the Jesuits invading all South America with religion? I mean, you can't really deny history. I mean, you learn from history, move forward, and hopefully do better, But now
I think the uncomfortable truth is that human beings are savages.
Well, we're
and-
survive. I mean,
and
we're
have been savages for a long
we're
time.
tribal. I mean, we're tribal.
I mean, Genghis Khan raped half of Asia. I mean, seriously, there's you can look at the descendants, and they say something like 1 in 10 Asian people are of Genghis Khan descent because he raped that many women. I don't know. It's tough.
Well, I
mean,
know, but I think people spend so much time looking backwards. I mean, I'm much more of a forward-looking guy.
Well, you can look backwards. There's nothing wrong with looking backwards and saying the things we did in the past were wrong. But you also have to understand, like, there was a professor recently. I didn't want to get into this whole discussion, but there was a professor recently who said, if you lived in times of slavery, or if you lived in times of whatever certain moral thing that we all today agree is completely immoral, but used to be the norm, right? Whatever it may be. He asked his students, he says, would you, in the face of potential persecution and being an outcast in society, speak out and be totally against that thing? And he says that every student always says, oh yeah, I would have done it. And he says, but that's just not true. Because he says, you're lying. You think you would, but you wouldn't. Like if you were around, if you were a white person in the year 1800, would you have spoken out against slavery? Were there white people who did? Yes. But did the far majority? No. The far majority of white people didn't do anything. But nowadays, like he says, all my students say, oh, I would have spoken out. Probably not, because what things today do we do that are going to be seen as immoral in the future that you're not speaking out against, right? So it's tough. That doesn't mean that it's hard to look at something 200 years ago with our current day moral lens. That doesn't mean that what they did was wrong. Like that doesn't mean that George Washington wasn't wrong for owning slaves. But you have to understand that it was just a different time, and that George Washington also did a lot of great things, okay? And we shouldn't remove him from history because he was a slave owner, in my opinion.
Right.
That doesn't mean that he wasn't wrong, but
you can go even further back, like they're talking about Christopher Columbus and all that stuff. Okay, well, he wasn't like a prototype of an ace. He was a merchant. The guy was just basically a merchant. And the history, obviously, we know the story. He tried to go to India again, and he was trying to find a different route, and that's when the world is not flat and it's round or whatever, and he thought he was arriving in India, and then he discovered America, but we have a lot of names, and after that, the rest is history. I mean, there was a lot of invasions and all that.
The unfortunate truth about slavery is humans have had slavery for thousands of years.
Right.
It's been a normal thing. Like you said, in Rome, I mean, Rome was built by slaves, really. They say, I know there's different arguments, but a lot of people think that the Egyptian pyramids were built by slaves. Are we going to tear those down? I mean, unfortunately, in the past, really, like the way I like to put it is slavery. It's actually an abnormality that in today's world we don't have slavery, because for the first 10,000 years of civilization, it was very much built on slaves. You go to war with another tribe or another civilization, another city, whatever, and you win, you take the people of that city and you enslave them. That was the common practice. It was normal. And that doesn't mean it was right, but it was normal. And now we live in a world without slavery, and obviously that is the significantly better thing. But all races, all religions, everybody has held slaves and been slaves.
A lot of things
and
is
that's the unfortunate truth.
A lot of times is that now we're also starting to dig into expressions and words that we use today, and we're trying to find extra connotations from those words and starting to say, oh, should we use this or not? And I think it gets really like too much. Like, I mean, I don't know, like we're like looking
like the master bedroom thing.
Yeah. Or
I don't know. I get what people say, but at the same time, it's about intent. Like, I had no idea until just 2 weeks ago that master bedroom even came from that origin.
Right.
And I don't think most people did.
But
either.
I mean, even normal things like you say, hey, like I was talking to another client the other day, and we had a little issue with communicating via email, and his emails were being trapped or something. I said, make sure that this domain is whitelisted on your server so it goes through. It's not blacklisted. I mean, we have blacklisted and whitelisted. That's common norm. You know, like the emails that go through, the emails that are blocked for whatever reason. And now you start thinking, okay, well, why do they call it blacklisted? Like it's a bad email.
Right, but that's another example where the term blacklist didn't come from black people.
I know.
It actually came. You can look up. I looked up the etymology. It comes from puritanical England, hundreds of years ago.
Right.
That's where it comes from.
Right. No, exactly.
And it had nothing to do with.
But that's what we're starting
people.
to find or dig into connotations that really don't mean anything bad. You know. But then we said, okay, what do we call the blacklist?
It was actually, the word comes from pre-slave trade era. So before white people owned black slaves in England and in America, basically. It came. The word was around before that ever happened. Mm-hmm. So it was not from black people. But I don't know. I mean, I don't do. That's the thing, though. Like, I don't ever.
I don't even think about that stuff. You know, it's like you have those thoughts, and it's like, okay, well, it's just a normal expression, like you said, master bedroom. There's a lot of different things now that, etymology-wise, you can start looking into where does this word come from? Was it a bad? Was it a bad?
Like, I mean, even look at the words that, like, moron, idiot. Those used to be clinical words. They were clinical words used by doctors that you could be diagnosed as a moron. It's that people started using it as an insult, and now the medical profession doesn't use those words anymore. But the original creation was as a medical diagnosis. It wasn't any malintent. It was that people started using that word in a derogatory way, and now the medical profession changed and they don't use them anymore. I don't know. Words are tricky, man. It's like.
But I was thinking.
I just think, to me, it's just about the intent. It's like, what is your intent with the word?
I mean,
if someone says master, like I said, I had no idea that master bedroom even came from basically slave masters. I don't think 99% of people even knew that.
Well, we use the word master for a lot of things. Master in tapes. I came back from a video background. We had the master of a video program.
Master is used
program.
in things not just in slavery. What? You have a martial arts master.
Exactly.
It has nothing to do with slavery.
It's a teacher. The master comes from
mastery.
But to me, from my Latin background, master comes from maestro, which is the teacher.
Right.
Okay. So when
especially like conductor in Spanish is maestro, or they have maestro too.
Yeah, maestro too. El maestro of the orchestra.
Right.
Conductor means conductor, which could be whoever leads the orchestra. But master in my background is from the maestro, from being the master. Okay. So you have teachers that are lower level, and the master is like above the teachers. He's like the master of the teachers.
Okay. Here's another one. You're Spanish.